Good day. My name is Tosin Balogun, and you're welcome to the third part of the series Strategies to Maximize Learning Opportunities. Today, I am going to be talking on three of those strategies. The first will be storytelling, the second, visuals and graphics, and the third will be hands on simulation as well. Now, the first thing I will share will be on storytelling. Now, your story, of course, can be real and your story can be fictional, okay? But there are a few other things that we need to learn about good storytelling. Storytelling helps create connections, okay? But beyond connections, storytelling helps create a sense of familiarity and trust between you and your learners. That's why it's important for you to implement the to implement a good storytelling strategy. Remember that learning has to evoke appropriate emotional response. And so if you use a very good storytelling, then you're likely to evoke appropriate emotional response. Now, the other thing to learn about storytelling is this. We know from some research that your learners are likely to remember information accurately and for a longer period of time when they are being taught through storytelling than just through facts and figures. Now that's important for them to remember information accurately and for a longer period of time. Recall that we have talked about learning being enduring. So that's why you know now that storytelling is important for enduring learning. The other thing to know is that even when you're teaching facts and figures, we know that storytelling can help learners remember those facts and figures 20 times more if they are being told as part of a story than just by presenting it to them as facts and figures. So you do know that storytelling is important for learning. And the last thing I will share about storytelling is that the stories have to be age appropriate, yes, but also experience appropriate. So yes, you should tell stories that the people that you are telling the stories for can relate to. Say for instance, if you're working with 2-year-olds, you want to share stories that you know their minds can grasp, right? But your stories also have to be experience appropriate, which means that you have to think about the culture, the setting, the exposures of the clients that you have, because that should determine the content and the style of the stories that you tell. The next thing to talk about today will be visuals and graphics. Now, visuals, we know that a picture says more than 1,000 words. It's important that you implement visuals, use a lot of visual aids to facilitate learning, because we know that our learners would grasp a lot from visuals. In fact, there was a research done in 2015 that was published in the Journal of Education and Practice that actually suggests some benefits for using visual aids. Some of the things that we learn is that visual aids are so crucial to learning that it can help facilitate the thinking process. Yes, and that's a big thing. Visuals can help facilitate the thinking process and also create a positive learning environment. Those two factors are quite important. Recall again that learning would stick, that the brain would take your information much more seriously if you can evoke appropriate emotional response. So visuals can help, create meaning by building on what they've learned before, but also can also help them create an appropriate emotional response. So lastly, we'll be talking about hands-on or simulation. This is another opportunity for visual and emotional connection. You'll be sure that the information that you're providing to your learners are accurate, okay? And that the expressions are very clear. Now, in terms of using simulations, they can be simple, they can be complex. Think of something as simple as, say you're teaching a class of science and you want to tell them about the size of the heart and just ask them to make a fist. That way you can relate, okay, by telling them that, look, if you think about the size of your fist and think about that as the size of your heart, that's a form of hands-on approach, okay, trying to connect an abstract concept to much more something practical, okay? But also it can be complex, or let's say just a little bit much more complex, okay? Say for instance you want to simulate a shopping experience. It's something that the therapist will call mock market. Now, what you do is that you're trying to bring about the abstract concepts to much more practical. So when you do that, and then let's say you then take your learners to an actual shopping experience, you would create an opportunity for them to build on meanings. Okay, remember the neural connection. So something you've exposed them to already in terms of stimulation, they can then build on it, okay, in that concrete experience. Therefore, the brain is likely to learn that way because you are making connections, okay? That information has meaning because there has already been a baseline knowledge given to them in that area. So these three strategies are quite important for learning. And if you as a professional can infuse these approaches, then your child is likely to maximize learning. Again, you should try to implement storytelling, try to implement visuals and graphics in your teaching strategies, and lastly, try to implement hands-on and simulation. Thank you. I'll see you in my next video. I hope that this has been beneficial. If so, please leave your comment and also do not forget to subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video.